No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you, the God in you. Whether you're black or white or gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, and welcome to Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. Whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or here in the sanctuary, we welcome you to our center, which is part of the International Centers for Spiritual Living, where our vision is a world that works for everyone. So welcome today, this beginning of Holy Week. We have playing with us today Diane Clements, our practitioner, and our musicians, and Jeff, and so all kinds of stuff. We have great day today planned for us. So we will begin, and we will begin with lighting our candle for the spirit of the month. The spirit of the month is communication, and today we light the candle for the silent communication between spirit and our human nature. So we will begin today by just settling into our seats, whether we're at home or here. Taking a deep breath and releasing, we let go of the morning and everything it took to get here. And another deep breath. And releasing, we let go of all of the things for later in the day. And just allow ourselves to be present in this moment.
In this silence, let us be still and know there is only one God, one connection, one life. And from this place of perfect connection, I speak my word, knowing that peace, and I feel that peace, and I know that peace and that calm and that joy. Let's feel this divine connection in us, as us, and through us. I know that Spirit is all there is, that there is only God, and only God, only love being expressed here and always. It is in this love that we breathe and we have our being. We are one with goodness, one with love, one with expansion, abundance, peace, one with vibrant, good health. We live and we breathe and we have our being in this divine love. And I know for each one of us that this love goes forth from us into all that you do, into everyone you meet. I bless our Claremont Center for Spiritual Living, and I know it is divinely guided, and it meets the needs of each and every member and the needs of our community. I bless our wonderful leaders, our ministers, our wonderful practitioners, our sound crews, our musicians, all who volunteer and make it possible for us to meet and have service today. And most of all, I'm grateful for the freedom that we can express our religious freedoms in this country. So please join me in affirming these truths as we say together, and so it is. Today's reading is taken from Ernest Holmes for April 10th, that's today. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he will be my son. It's easy to see how one who is surrounded by confusing situations might feel inadequate to cope with them, and unconsciously might seek some place of peace or retirement where nothing could bother him. A completely integrated person is one who has learned to meet everything as it comes along and to make the best of it. When we say he should make the best of things, we do not mean that one should grin and bear it, or even suffer it to be so, for we know there is a way to meet every situation through the power greater than ourselves. This is done by knowing that there is nothing to be afraid of, and that we are one with an infinite partner, that there is nothing in the universe designed to harm us. Confidence and faith in a power greater than ourselves must be generated. We must meet every situation as it comes with faith and trust. There is nothing to be afraid of. We are underneath the everlasting arms. That's Ernest Holmes. Thank you.
Need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When this whole world starts to push and shove me, I need to be still. Let God love me. I need to relax and let God take over. I need to relax and let God take over. He'll take this load off my shoulder. Need to relax and let God take over. When there's trouble all around me and my soul cries out for rest, when I feel that I'm failing even though I've done my best, when decisions get so heavy, there
answers that I need. I know I'd time to just be still and let God love me. I need to be still. I need to be still. When this old world starts to push and shove me, I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When this old world starts to push and shove me, I need to be still and let God love me.
Wow, that was beautiful. And so perfect for this week. This is Holy Week, the beginning of Holy Week. And it's not just Holy Week in the Christian tradition, but we're also in the midst of Ramadan, which is a celebration of the Quran being revealed to Muhammad. And Passover starts this week, which is the celebration of the Israelites leaving Egypt into freedom. It's a special week of both physicality and spirituality, because as we know the story of Holy Week, there's a lot of physicalness involved in it. It begins today. This is Palm Sunday. And on Palm Sunday, Jesus rode into town on a donkey, and all of the people put palm branches down on the ground so he could not ride on dusty ground because all the roads were dust. So he would ride on the palms instead. The palms are symbolic of royalty. So he was honored as king. And some say, well, what's really symbolic is the fact that he rode in on a donkey, because donkeys are stubborn. But I think what's even more symbolic is that he asked the apostles to go find him a colt that had never been ridden before. He wanted to ride in on something new, untouched, and unbroken. So the week begins with Jesus being honored as king, right? And he's honored as king, and then as the week unfolds, there's lots of things going on. They get together on Thursday to celebrate the Passover with a dinner, which Christians call the Last Supper now, because that was his last supper. So they get together in community. So it is a time of community, a time of being honored as king, but it is also a time of betrayal. Not just by Judas, but also, as we know, as the story goes, by the other apostles that claim they don't know him. They want to distance themselves from him. It's a time of brutality and a time of physical death. So he rides in as king in the beginning of the week, and by Friday goes through all of these different things and ends up dead. And a lot of times that's where we kind of leave the story and we forget that there's so much else. I mean, I was brought up Catholic and we fasted during Lent so that we could participate in the suffering. And there's a lot of talk about all of the suffering and the crucifixion and the death. And I remember the last time I went to midnight mass with my husband Tom, we went to a Presbyterian midnight mass on Christmas Eve, and the sermon was about the crucifixion. That's often where we leave off in that story. But as Jesus would say himself, that's the story only to the deaf and the blind. Because the real story is transcendent. The real story is about the resurrection, coming back new. The real story is about the fact that Jesus knew when he rode in everything that was going to transpire for the whole week. He already knew it and went forward anyway. And how could he do that? He did that because he had the Spirit within him. He knew that he was anointed with the grace of the Father, that he was one with the Father. He was Spirit, having this human experience. He also knew that he needed to be human and he needed to have this experience in order for the message to get across. So we have him riding in as a king and dying physically. But it reminds us that we can only really understand immortality by understanding mortality, by recognizing the difference, by understanding that. So what we're looking at here is this play between our spirit and our humanness, and that both are important. He knew all of this stuff. He knew that there was a physicalness. And if you think about it with the Passover, it's the same thing. You know, the Israelites escaped from apparent slavery, right? And what happened? They traveled in the desert for 40 years. That desert isn't that big. There isn't that much mileage in reality between Egypt and Canaan. But they wandered for 40 years in hardship. Now, is it because we human are slow learners? Or the fact that everybody who was an adult when they left died in those 40 years, and it was all the new, younger people that were entering into the promised land. There was a new consciousness by that time that entered into the promised land. And so their 40 years in the desert had a lot of physical hardships with a lot of spiritual transcendence. You know, with the 10 Commandments and manna from heaven. And if you read the story, there's several instances where Spirit says, okay, you know, if you stop long enough and listen, I'm here for you. So it's a back and forth dance. And even in the Ramadan celebration of the Quran being given to Muhammad couldn't read or write, which wasn't uncommon back in those days. He was a merchant, he was a seller, and he had other people that could do his reading and writing if he needed them to. But brawn was the power back then. So the fact that the Quran was revealed and he wrote it down in words and letters that he could not understand himself, other people had to read it once he wrote it. Again, we have a play of Spirit expressing through our human nature. We have this back and forth dance. back to the donkey and our stubbornness. So, even if that holding on, we often in our physical life, we don't turn to that spirit as often as enough. I know, and we don't want to release, because often spirit will tell us things we really don't want to hear, right? We want to hold on to this physicalness. It goes back to the allegory of there's a ship that gets wrecked. And, it's broken up on the rocks and there's things all over the place. But people are hanging on to that wreckage as they float around. And along comes a rescue boat and throws out a life preserver. And some people grab it and they're saved. And then others won't let go of the wreckage in order to grab on to the life preserver to be saved, because they're afraid if they let go of the wreckage, they'll sink. And how often do we not let go of wreckage? In my own personal life, I had a business that I probably should have sold years before I did. My mom was my business partner, and she kept telling me, Mary, why don't you just sell that thing and move up to Sacramento with me and we'll just have fun. But it seemed like it was working, it was making money, even though it was creating a lot of family animosities. Everybody thought they could do this better or that better, or wanted the money or wanted this and whatever. And so I hung on, and I hung on, and I hung on, until she died. And then it really was a mess. And talk about ugliness. It really was a mess. But that's an example of hanging on to something that we could release and move on to that freedom. So we tend to do that a lot. We tend to go back and forth. Now, between spirit and human, there's this give and receive relationship. As you can see in our symbol up there, spirit's on the top, and it inspires and sends its energy into what is manifested. So it gives and we receive, and that's not the end of the story. It's not a one-way give and receive. By expressing the divinity within ourselves, we give back to spirit. So that's not a one-way funnel. You come down on one end, you go back. The circle it's a circle of creation. Troward calls that the law of reciprocity. Ernest Holmes calls it the creative process. It's a back and forth, give and receive between spirit and human. So I'm going to play a video now. And watch and identify in this video which is spirit, which is human. And we'll open our little slide thing there. I think we got the cover closed, and let's see if I can get it started from here. Oh, the projector is gone to sleep, I think. And we'll get it going in just a moment, I think. Or it looks like the computer might be asleep, is it? No. Patty, can you just hit the go button there because it's too faint? There we go. As you watch this, think of spirit and human nature. Remembering that God works through us, as us. Thank you. So, in that video, we see the tension and the give and the take between spirit and human. A dance is like a prayer because there's no words. It's a direct communication with spirit, with God. We don't need to have words. There were no words there to create that beauty. It's like a meditation in that it requires focus. And when our spirit and our human nature are communing, it requires focus, right? Getting quiet and listening and paying attention to the other requires a lot of paying attention. It is being in the moment, for sure. You can't be thinking about other things. I'm sure those dancers were thinking about nothing but exactly what they were doing, and the music and the interplay of each other, the interplay of spirit. So it's being very present and also very quick to change in the moment. As spirit speaks, do we change? We hear that inner voice a lot more often than we stop and respond to it and respond with our actions. But in that intimate dance between spirit and our human nature, that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing, is responding to that inner voice. Last Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, evening, Tom and I were supposed to fly to Seattle to visit our daughter. In the morning, Tom got ill. Pretty ill. He's fine now, so don't worry. But he got very ill, and we had to cancel our trip. And so throughout the day, as he was physically getting better, I was mentally and emotionally pacing back and forth. Did I do anything productive? No, because I was preoccupied with the fact that I had to cancel our plane. And even when, because when I bought the tickets, Spirit was speaking to me and said, hit the insurance button, which I never, ever do, but I did at that time. So even though I realized that, we didn't really lose anything, we just postponed, I was still, pacing back and forth and pacing back and forth. And so we went to bed that evening and woke up the next morning, and in my morning meditation, I'm still feeling like, And that little voice says to me, what are you upset about? A little plan that you made? You make all kinds of plans. This is just one of them. Some of them aren't going to work from time to time. And is this the hill you want to die on? Is this the wreckage you want to cling to? Or do you want to start this week fresh and see what you can do with it? So that's the flexibility that Spirit is asking us to do. Of course, I laughed at myself and said, of course, yes, let's start new and let's start fresh. And we had a great week, and I was able to be supportive to Reverend Tracy, which I couldn't have been if I was in Seattle. May not have been here today. So Spirit is asking us to let go of comfortable wreckage that we're used to. Let go of these plans that we make when they don't work, because we make so many and they're not all going to work. And so why waste energy over what didn't work when we could rechange our focus onto something new, brand new and fresh that we hadn't planned on but might actually be better. So dancing is also a connection. And in that intimate human spiritual dance, We're talking about improving the connection, the communication between our spirit within us and this human body, this brain that we have, that spirit uses to express itself. So we're getting an alignment with that. So as you were watching the video, you probably don't remember any particular moves that those dancers made. But you do know what you were feeling. You do know that what they were doing together was beauty and creative. That's the third entity. You know, even when in Christian religion they talk about the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit is that relationship that's created between our spiritual selves and this temple, humanness, this tool of spirit. There's a relationship. And that relationship is what is beautiful. That's what the creative process is that beauty, that awesome beauty. When we look at nature, we see the awesome beauty. When we look at ourselves and that back and forth of spirit and human, do we see awesome beauty? We should. Because it's as beautiful as that dance, always. And every person's dance is going to be different and unique. But within each of us, within each person sitting here, there is that same light, that same wisdom, that same intimate dance between spirit and human as there was in Jesus and Buddha and Mohammed and all of the ancient Celtics and Taoists. It's all the same. God didn't make different people. Each one of us expresses God differently. Each one of us has that perfect divinity. Each one of us is anointed. And that's what this Holy Week is all about. It's about that anointedness between our own spirit and our own self. It's that newness. Now, it takes courage sometimes to step out into the unknown. Could that woman have gone into the air without the man? No. You need that spirit and human together, working together. We don't have as we grow up, we have this human ego that serves us well, and this body that serves us well. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here, would we? If we didn't have all of that. But there's an interdependency. We need spirit to give us that courage, that faith. And spirit needs our bodies to express. And there's no accident that we are humans. There's no accident that Jesus was a human being, that Buddha was a human being. This is on purpose. So we're not here to deny the fact that we're here or to deny our humanness and play it down. We're to use, excuse me, our humanness to express that divinity that's within us, to create that beautiful dance that is ourselves, our true selves, unique to each person. If you can visualize each person in this room and on Facebook out there dancing, what a performance. If you can visualize everyone in this room doing their unique dance, what a performance. If we can look that deeply and see that the production that's going on this planet of dancers and musicians. So what can we do with all of this? What can we do with? Well, your challenge this week is to stop, observe, listen to the dance going on inside yourself. Between all of those things that are happening around you in this physical world and all of that that's going on inside you, in that spirit speaking to you, helping you through these things. We are walking expressions of divinity. We are walking beautiful dances. Know that about yourself as you move into this week. Namaste. And so let's take that into a prayer. As we get quiet, we sit in gratitude and awe. Awe of the ultimate wisdom of God, of Spirit. The ultimate joy, the ultimate courage, the ultimate compassion. And we realize that that wisdom, that courage, that compassion is within each of us, within me. That I dance a magnificent dance that is beauty in itself. And everywhere I go, I am dancing. I am beauty. I am love. This is the truth. And I sit in awesome gratitude for knowing it. And so it is.
I love this song not only for what it says, but also because it was sung by a frog. You'll find out. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are memories, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on a morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me, all of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailor? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da da dee da da da, la la da da dee dee da do.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so now is the time for our affirmation in your program. And for those of you online, we'll do it phrase by phrase. For those here, first, second, and third. I am both the temple and the essence.
I am both the temple and the essence.
Both human and spirit.
Both human and spirit.
The expressor and the expression.
The expressor and the expression.
It's all God. All righty, so let's do our tithing affirmation at this time before we get into our invitations. Let's do it together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. And the baskets are still in the back. Okay. So, invitations for today, and they're just exactly that. Let's see. Meditation class is starting up this Thursday. Yes, this Thursday it's actually going to begin. It will go from Thursday, April 14th to June 2nd. And for those of you who have already signed up in the class, if you didn't get the word already, there are the syllabus in my office on the coffee table. You can pick them up after service. There's a food drive going on. You might have seen a box with some food out in the lobby. This is the final day, so please remember to place your non-perishables and canned items there. And thank you so much for participating. And lastly, Gateway, our Wednesday night service, is going live this week. And we promise it will be lots of fun and a great renewal. So we hope that you can all come and join us. Like I said, it's going to be a good night of community and just all around fun. It will not be on Zoom because the activities we're planning is just not Zoom oriented. The purpose is to be together, and that's what we'll do. And it will stay live from now on. You might have seen there's a thing out in the front, that in the lobby, that tells you each week for the month. Next week, after this Wednesday, the following Wednesday is principal night, again a discussion night. We'll be talking about creativity, since that's our theme for the month on Wednesdays. Following that, we have an interfaith speaker that's going to talk about chaplaincy in the community. A very interesting fellow is going to come and speak to us about that. So please join us on Wednesdays. It will be very engaging. And are there any other invitations that I don't have here? Okay, with that, let us circle up and dance our way out of here.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every walk of life, every creed and color, every creed and color. In kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. We come together, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love.
Oh, I could hide neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never ring, but it rings and I rise, wipe the sleep out of my eyes. My shaven